Welcome back to Kickin' with the Rickens, redefining retirement. I'm your co-host, Doug Turnbull, joined by investment advisor representative Heidi Ricken-Provost and her dad, licensed insurance professional Jerry Ricken, not on the show with us today. He was on our last episode, though, talking about index universal life insurance, all the different things that it can possibly help you with. So be sure to check those past episodes out on Apple and Spotify, some of the other podcatchers. You can find it all under the podcast section at rickenfinancial.com. But Heidi's with us here. And Heidi, you have been busy. You've been talking to women and having different conferences on your own, and then you're about to be at a conference that's all about women in finance too. So how are you doing?
Hey, I'm hanging in there between tax season where I prepare most of our clients' tax returns. And like you just mentioned, a couple different women-only seminars. Sorry for the guys, you might have some FOMO. I know my dad did too, but we'd like to be surrounded by some strong women in this family. We talked about that. I'm surrounded by women on my mom's side of the family.
Yes.
And, we're all pretty strong and independent. But unfortunately, if you look at the stats, only about 23% of women feel in control and empowered to make their financial decisions. So,
wow.
I don't know. I feel like it's my life's mission to be here and make sure more women take control of the narrative, because there is no reason why we shouldn't be in control of our financial future, but it starts with the database of knowledge. And, most people don't get started because they don't know where to start.
Right.
Which is, we're all afraid of the unknown. The fear of the unknown will cripple most of us from doing most things in our life.
Sure.
But I don't want you to be afraid to get rolling when it comes to financial decisions for your future, whether you're a man or a woman. But I don't know, I'm a little passionate, if you can't tell, about the women.
Hey, we got to have people stand up for all sides, right? Well, So if you want to start that conversation, if you feel unsure and you want to talk to Heidi and Jerry and the team, pick up the phone and dial 314-442-6476, or of course, hit that contact button on rickenfinancial.com. And Heidi, let's just get right into it, because as you were laying some of this stuff out for me, as we were doing our extensive pre-show meeting here, a
whopping 3 seconds of it.
Hey, but it was a rich 3 seconds, okay?
Yeah.
But you started listing so many things that women have going against them and just doing the retirement plan. It's like it's not starting on even ground even.
Well, exactly. And I was actually just leading a women's only seminar the other day, and someone was talking to me beforehand, and she said, I'm going to be honest with you. I've been too scared to go to one of these things because, we get this stuff in the mail all the time about like planning for your retirement. And usually there's some guy on there, and I don't know, like, I don't want to go with my husband because he knows more than me, because he's done the research and he's been in control of it. And I just felt like some of this stuff is just so daunting and like negative that I don't want to like think about all of the negatives. And I'm like, well, yeah, at the end of the day, I'm not going to lie. When we're up against a wall as a woman, if you're a woman, you're going to make less in your lifetime because of the wage gap. We're all well aware of the wage gap. Women on average make like 84 cents to every man's dollar, okay? Doing the same jobs and everything. We're aware of it. And we're going to live longer. So that kind of works against us too. And that might seem a little negative. But, we live longer. We typically outlive the men. That's not the case with every single person or every couple or whatever. But, we're a little strong-willed and we typically outlive the men. And 4 out of every 5 unpaid caregivers, whether you're giving care to your children or to your parents or to both, which, by the way, over 60% of caregivers that are giving care to one or the two are called sandwich caregivers. They're providing care to their children and their parents at the same point in time. 4 out of 5 of those are women. So that kind of usually means that you're not working as much, because if you're providing care to someone, you're not bringing as much money in. So, between the wage gap, the caregiving, living longer, we're saving less for our financial future. So you have less in your retirement savings than a man typically does. Your Social Security benefits are going to be smaller because you didn't earn as much during your lifetime. Your pensions are going to be smaller because of that too. And we have a much higher percentage chance of needing long-term care at some point in time. Because we're living longer doesn't mean we're living healthy in our longer years. And 70% of nursing home residents right now are women. So, we just have to plan a little bit more creatively, and we have to take control and not just let things roll the course and say, oh, we're going to be fine in the end. We need to take control so that we can change the narrative and have a plan in place to take care of these. And it's not negative.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing that, in the grand scheme of things, we're not going to change the narrative overnight. And there's nothing I can do to control when any of us are going to live. I'm not in control of that. We know that one.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you just got to do a little bit more planning for the unknown. One of those unknowns that might affect you is kind of a crazy stat. This one surprised me and you both when we were talking about it.
Yeah.
The highest percentage of divorces in our country is occurring between age 55 and 64.
That's crazy. Right at the retirement age.
Right?
My gosh.
Like, if you think about this, oh my God, you've spent your entire life devoted to your spouse. They didn't take time off from work. Maybe you took time off from work to raise the kids and do all these things. And now you're caring for mom and dad. And now you're going to be hit with a divorce where you didn't have as much retirement savings. You may have no retirement savings because not all women have retirement savings. Not all men do either, but fewer men.
A smaller percentage of women do, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, add all this up. How do we take control? Where does it even begin?
Yeah.
And step one, if you're single, be aware of what your assets are, what your debts are, how much you save, what your take-home pay looks like, where it's going, how much you spend.
Yeah.
If you're married, make sure you know that data for you and your spouse. You have to have financial clarity in your relationship because over 70% of divorced women or widows find financial surprises on the demise of the relationship, whether you lose your spouse to death or divorce. And you don't want to be in that statistic. You want to make sure that you're well aware of the financial situation, but you also have to be open and vulnerable yourself because a lot of women carry debt and it's not something we should be ashamed of. It just happens sometimes, okay?
Yeah.
But be open with your spouse and share everything with them and make sure they're sharing everything with you. If you're one of those women that does not want to be involved, I have news for you and you're going to have to bleep me out. Tough you need to get involved, okay? Because at the end of the day, you have to have your eyes on what's occurring in your financial situation right now. Whether you're single, married, divorced, whatever your situation is, have your eyes on the entire picture. Because if you don't know that, you can't make any informed decisions, which is step two. You need to be educated so that you can make informed decisions. If you're doing all this on your own and you say, well, I have a plan, I stuck some money in a 401k, and that I saved. So I'm going to be just fine in my retirement. Yeah. A 401k is an investment. It's not a plan. A plan for your future involves step one, income. So when you retire, what is the income stream going to look like? It's going to start with Social Security if you paid into Social Security. Or it might have a pension if you only paid into a pension plan, or it might have both. But you got to make sure that if you're single, you're choosing the strategy for that guaranteed income to pay you the most income in your future. And if you're married, you're looking at it combined and you're not just making short-sighted decisions of, we're going to take this the day we retire, we're going to do that, whatever. You have to have a plan for what the stream of income coming in that Social Security and pension is for you and your family.
Yeah.
Survivor benefits are absolutely crucial here. So if you are married, you need to make sure that the higher wage earner during your working years is getting the most guaranteed income possible out of Social Security and or pensions for the rest of your life, because when one of you passes away, one of your Social Security benefits will pass away with your spouse.
Oh, gosh,
yeah, we need to make sure that you have income that can last the test of time, because chances are we're going to be around for a while here.
Yeah. So step number one is knowing what the entire income picture is, like knowing where all the pieces of the pie are. Step number two is simply making a plan, because an investment is not a plan. You got to know where that money's going to go, where it's going to come from. What else do you recommend? If
you have debt out there, you need to be working with someone that can help you pay off that debt. So your financial plan is going to involve how the debt payoff is going to work, because you can't just throw money at debt and think that that's a plan. You have to have a plan put in place for that. And then let's look at taxes. It's the inevitable.
Yeah.
We know death and taxes, we're going to have to pay tax of some sort at some point in time in your life. So what does your tax plan look like right now? And tax planning means forecasting for the future, not just showing up by April 15th and saying, hey, do the tax return and I'll pay the
tax
stuff.
prep.
Exactly. Let's plan for the taxes instead of just, being blindsided by it. And obviously that's a very large conversation, but taxes need to be in the picture when you're looking at this. And inflation needs to be in the picture because you need to know what your expenses are. And then you got to inflate those for the future because we can't avoid inflation either. And your expenses are not going to stay the same your entire retirement life.
Especially if it's 70% of women are our nursing home population is women.
Yeah.
And a large percentage of women need long-term care. Those expenses are going to go up as costs of life generally go up over time too. And taxes go up.
Well, exactly, which leads into healthcare. Have a healthcare plan of some sort. So if you're before age 65 and you're retiring, what is health insurance going to look like for you? Come up with a plan for that. If you're after age 65 and you're on Medicare, make sure you have the right supplement or advantage plan. But also have a plan of some sort, no matter what it is. If it's spending down your assets, self-insuring, putting the onus out on an insurance company, have a plan in place for long-term care because chances are we're probably going to need long-term care at some point in time, even if just for a day. In your financial future, most people will need long-term care nowadays.
Right.
And you might be sitting here thinking, that's great. I'm going to be the percentage that doesn't need it. You still need a plan in place because you never know. We plan for the unknowns, and obviously worth noting, your plan should be changing all the time because life changes all the time. So this isn't just a set it and forget it thing. Unfortunately, you kind of have to keep up with the plan to make sure that you're always prepared for the unknowns.
Yeah. I just got a text from the dealership that does work on my car. Hey, it's been 5 months. It's time to have a look and get a tune-up, right? It's kind of the same thing with the plan. Once or twice a year, you need to meet with your advisor and make sure everything's on track, not only as a married couple, but if you're a widow, the latter stages of that as well. There is no set it and forget it, like you said.
Absolutely. And, that goes with life insurance, too. A lot of times, in our earlier years, we get life insurance for death benefit because we have debts out there. And it's just, the traditional, okay, you get the life insurance and you don't really think about it. You need to make sure life insurance is working for you and not necessarily against you because you might not need life insurance for death benefit. You might want it. But as your needs change, your debts change, your life insurance needs for death benefit are going to change. But, your plan should also include if life insurance could benefit you for living benefits, too, because it could provide some tax-free income and assistance and tax-free chunks of money, too, in your future. It could help you pay off that debt that we talked about earlier and be a part of the debt plan. Or it might help you cover some long-term care without taxation. So, it can fall into your plan a lot of different ways, but you need to make sure that life insurance is accounted for and, do an analysis to make sure if you need it, you have the right coverage. Or if you want the coverage for living benefits, you have access to it and control over it so that, you can make the best financial decisions for you and your family.
Well, of course, yeah. And in our last episode, I want to mention again, Index Universal Life Insurance, one of those tools there. Jerry talked all about that. So, okay, people have heard 6 different steps, which all involve planning, basically, and why women have some disadvantages for so much falls on their backs. And a lot of times they're doing it for less money or, in a caregiving case at home, maybe no money, right? So what if somebody wants to discuss this with you, especially you, Heidi, but I know you and Jerry could both help. How do they get in touch with you? What's that first conversation like?
Absolutely. The first conversation could be as simple as I recently had a woman reach out to me on our rickenfinancial.com, RICKEN financial.com, and they said, I really don't even know where to begin. I don't even know what to do. And
man, that's relatable.
That's honestly the most powerful thing I've ever seen someone say, because usually people come in with this guard up, and you don't have to have a guard up. No one knows where to begin. If you don't do this for a living, listen, if I had to give care to someone, I'm not a caregiver. I don't work in the healthcare profession. I wouldn't know where to begin.
Right.
It's no different.
Right.
You don't have to have the answers. Just simply reach out, whether it's picking up the phone to call me at 314-442-6476, checking out our website, looking in the show notes here to guide you to our social media, our website, our other episodes of our podcast if you want to learn more. Whatever it takes, knowledge is key. and you can't get there if you don't reach out for help.
Right.
So we're here to help. There's no judgment of any kind. We just want to make sure that you're prepared for the future. That's as simple as it can be. And if we're not a good fit, we get it. But you don't know if you don't try. That's
correct. Well, and you talked about people or women getting these mailers, right? And they think it's somebody not relatable, somebody that's, gilded in gold or the big fat watch or whatever, maybe they just can't relate to another gentleman, whatever it is, right? If I could say, and you could get this sense, folks, if you go back and listen to our past episodes on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, you can watch them on YouTube or watch and listen to them on YouTube. Jerry and Heidi are so relatable. They're down to earth, all right? And that's a good place to start where, sure, they're going to tell it to you straight, but you're not going to walk out of there feeling all judged because everybody comes in, and I'm sure, without a plan or with a plan that maybe needs tuning upon at very least, and you all can walk them through that. So, folks, make that call right now, 314-442-6476, or if you don't want to make it while you're driving hands-free, wait till you get home. If you don't want to make a call at all, when you're parked in a safe spot, of course, go to the contact button at rickenfinancial.com and get that process going. And Heidi, I know a lot of women thank you for that, and I know you're going to get a chance at the end part of April too to actually speak at an Empowering Women conference there with some other people in finance, right?
Absolutely. And I'm so thrilled for that opportunity and can't wait for it and to bring the knowledge forward because I get to learn from people at that conference as well. But if I leave you with nothing else, just know this: you're not alone. And a lot of women don't know where to begin. A lot of men don't know where to begin either. We're not going to single you out, guys. We're here to help you too. But don't listen to Betty down the street because her situation's different from you. Don't listen to the talking heads on the news and social media and all this stuff.
Right.
Go to a professional who does this on a daily basis and can take your specific situation, plan it all, wrap it up in a pretty little bow, and make sure that you have the knowledge that it takes to make informed decisions. They're not going to make the decision for you. They shouldn't be doing that. If they are, you're working with the wrong advisor. They should be working with you as a team to make sure you have the knowledge and the power to make the right decision because you are worth it. No matter what your financial situation is, it's never too late to make the plan. You're worth planning for and making sure that you're set up for the financial future that you deserve.
Okay, and I just want to say, too, know you're worth it also. If you're one of those people, that alarming number of divorces between age 55 and 64, man or woman, if you feel like you got run over by the other person and you're just helpless, maybe they were the major breadwinner or they did the plans. No, you're worth having a good retirement plan, too, even if you got your heart broken.
Absolutely.
All right? So please call 314-442-6476. Don't shortchange yourself or your children or the future generations here. Legacy planning is a part of this too. Get that conversation started now. Well, again, Heidi, thank you so much for enlightening us on this and for helping women out. I mean, y'all, women do so much to help us dudes out, okay? They need a hand too. So thank you so much.
Hey, Queen Bee said it best. Who run the world? Girls.
We're not going any further than that. That was perfect. She is Heidi Ricken, your investment advisor representative at Ricken Financial. And, of course, her dad, Jerry, is a big help with this, too. He's a licensed insurance professional and doing all sorts behind the scenes there to make it work. You can find out more about them at rickenfinancial.com. And I'm your co-host, Doug Turnbull. But before we go, we have to remember, Heidi, that every day
is a holiday
and life is short.
Laugh hard.
Amen to that. This has been Kicking with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement, and thanks to our producer, Brandon Benefield, for putting this all together. Have a great day. We'll talk soon.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Ricken Financial, LLC. Ricken Financial, LLC is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Ricken Financial, LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Ricken Financial, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Ricken Financial, LLC.
Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.
Tax preparation and tax advisory services services are offered through Ricken Financial. These services are not offered by IPW and are not subject to investment advisor requirements. These services referenced are an outside business activity not offered through or supervised by IPW.